Welcome to Keeping a Notebook. I am Amy Ludwig Vanderwater, and I'm so glad you're here. This is Betsy the Writing Camper. She's been living through snowy days and sunny days, and she is glad you're here too. 2020 is my 11th year of writing a poem each day of National Poetry Month. I always write around a different theme. For this year's poetry project, I have decided to introduce surprise. Each April day, I will share a poem's can phrase about writing poetry. I will roll 3 word dice. If a die rolls blank, I will not re-roll it. I will write a poem inspired by 1, 2, or all 3 of the face-up words. Today's Roll the Dice Poetry Chat is titled, Poems Can Emphasize an Important Word with a One-Word Line.
It's time to roll the dice again. I shall choose 1, 2, and 3. Seas slowly flying. Seas slowly and flying. Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back. It is day 32 of Keeping a Notebook. It is day 20 of National Poetry Month. Let's have a high five. We have been sticking together for a while here, and today's chat is titled, Poems Can Emphasize an Important Word with a one-word line. And all that means is that sometimes in a poem that goes down the page and may repeat or not, and may rhyme or not, and all these other things we've talked about, sometimes one line has only one word on it because it's really an important line. It's very important, an important word. And so the poet, you or me or whoever the poet is, decides this word will be all by itself. That's all this means. And our words today are seas, slowly, and flying. So I was jotting in my notebook as I do, and it's always a little meditative for me to even draw the dice. So I have been doing that every day, you've probably noticed. And then I jotted, sees there's so much to see on a bike ride, because now my poems are sort of carrying one into the other a little bit in terms of a story. I'm thinking about the dice every day. I am thinking about whatever technique we're talking about. And I'm thinking about the story of Antoinette and Glorious. And sometimes I know what I want the technique to be before I write the poem. And sometimes I write it and then I figure it out afterwards. So there's no real tremendous plan here. Some people have asked me how far ahead I'm writing the poems, and I will tell you I am not writing them far ahead. I am writing right alongside you. But one thing I am doing is sometimes after I roll the dice, I'm not rolling them in the moment because you're not seeing me writing. I roll them and then sometimes I sit and I think about what's on the dice. I might take a walk or take a shower or knit or do something so that my mind can think about what those words are and what they might want to be in a poem. So you can see a lot on a bike ride, maybe a crow, maybe a pond with geese, maybe the setting sun. You could ride bikes slowly so they could talk, Antoinette and Glorious. Flying. Now, this is what I got a little bit excited about with today's dice roll, was if you remember back from day 3 of National Poetry Month, little Antoinette realized her dream was to fly. She closed her eyes and imagined she could fly. And so this is a connection back to then. So I knew right away when I realized this that I would want, we didn't have the word flying, we had the word flock at that time, but I realized I wanted to have this poem be about flying to circle back to that one. So I jotted, maybe Antoinette would ask what Glorious loves. This is how conversations go. We take turns and share the talk. I want Glorious to love the same thing, flying. Now, she didn't tell him that she loves flying. She told him she loved violets yesterday, but I know she loves flying and you know she loves flying. So then I got this idea in the shower. Many times I find it helpful to do something not writing where I can think about writing in the back of my mind, just like I told you. So I just wrote a little bit about my thinking about writing here. And here's the draft. And I'll read it to him. Now remember, yesterday Glorious asked Antoinette what she loves. Today Antoinette asks what Glorious loves. 2 friends slowly pedal. They chatter through the meadow. As they chatter through the meadow, Antoinette asks her question, and Glorious smiles. Follow me, he pedals faster. She pedals faster too. They see a crow up on a wire. he waves, it waves a wing. The crow lands near them on the path, and Glorious looks from mouse to crow, from crow to mouse, and back again. Antoinette meets Sonata. Sonata, Antoinette. You asked me what I love? Flying. Look, flying is all by itself there. And it is the only line in this poem that is a one-word line. And it's the last line. And many times poets will do that. They will have a one-word line somewhere in the poem. But sometimes a poem will end with just one word on a line. And that is a technique anyone could try. Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter how long you've been writing. You can have a one-word line to emphasize something important. So I did this today because I wanted to pop out the fact that Glorious loves flying, and then we can remember that Antoinette loves flying too. So I'm so glad you're here. I'm always happy to see you, and we will be back tomorrow. It will be day 21 of National Poetry Month. I have no idea what will happen, and we'll just see. So take care, and I will see you tomorrow.
On the left-hand page of this notebook, you can see that I took some notes around the words and did my jotting. And I also did some thinking about how I do my thinking, which I like to do. On the right-hand side, you can see the draft with its one-word final line. I am always happy to find when one piece of my writing circles around to another piece. Connections can hold our writing together. Today's words are seize, slowly, and flying. They can be used in so many ways. It is day 20 of National Poetry Month, and we are 2/3 of the way through this journey together. Thank you very much for joining me.